Welcome to the Morning Slice.
When it comes to diversity and being a person of color in a small town like that, then you are the only example for those people. And people will say things like, well, I never saw any racism going on, which is an interesting take, because I wonder if people think that like racist acts are always like some, overt thing. Like you never, it's
Like
very
they
interesting.
happen on the stage.
Yeah, like, that's racism up there, on the stage, and I can call it out and get the cops over here. Racism handled, done and done. So it doesn't happen like that. It happens with, riding your bike down the town or down the street and somebody driving by in a truck and yelling the N-word at you. It happens with, being told that you can't come to a place because somebody there doesn't like black people. It happens with someone making a comment when you're running on the track that, like, of course all those white boys are chasing you because you're the black guy. Those are the things that happen. It happens with when you're playing on a sports team that, there are certain other schools and towns that you're going to go to and play against where they're going to yell racial things at you. And all those things happen from, the moment that you're born, and all the way up until you graduate and leave that area. And then you watch the people from that area go, I never saw any racism. And you're like, well, you don't have to assume that there was racism, but before you say that, maybe you could ask somebody about their experience,
Yes.
right? And so it there's no context for the person who doesn't start from a place of asking first what someone's experience is, and taking it for what it is. We're really, really bad about that in this country in general. You know, so I mean, not only does it happen, is it there, um, but it's a problem because that's it's something that a population that's within your population is having to live with and guide around. Now, the next thing that people say is, well, it's just words. And the punishment, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, is that the punishment, and I know that I'll have to go through this with my kids, is that, let's say somebody retaliates to that, to being called such a thing. If you retaliate, then you'll be punished alongside that person who was willing to invoke, that you are different because of the way you were born. But if I retaliate against that, then I'm punished too, right? Everybody receives a punishment. There's no further punishment for the person that is willing to look at my skin color and degrade me. There's nothing further. There's no investigation into why that's happening, or some sort of conversation with parents at another level. Now, my caveat to that is I had phenomenal teachers. Some I had some phenomenal teachers.
Yeah.
One specifically that I always think about were principals. That means for me now today to have faith in America, to have faith in our, that there are people that stand with me, not against me, just because of the color of my skin. So, that if there's nothing that tells you that racism is more real, that educators are having to take time out of their day, not just educators, principals of schools are having to take time out of their day to investigate, then I don't know what will. What will make it real for you? Um, I don't know what makes it real to people in our hometown. Very interesting, but my love for it, I don't know, something about where you're from, and just want some good pizza. I just want I just want to walk the glass museum. I just want to, those things are just in me. I want to go to Cuca Lake. I miss those things.
Yeah. Well, we miss you too. And I'm so grateful to hear that although there were certainly no shortage of instances where you felt racism present in our area, I'm so grateful that you had that additional experience of there are people here who will defend me and who do care.
And that taught me so much. It taught me to stand up for people, right? Like that's who I try to be. I tried to be, going to the Marine Corps, is a big part about trying to stand up for people who might not have someone to stand up for them. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying I execute that perfect, but that's a big part of what I try to do. Starting from a place of empathy. I'm pleading with people who don't have my viewpoint to consider that the life that they have lived is not the same as somebody else's. That's all I absolutely ask. When I think about, going through these movements and these moments, you have to consider that the life you've lived is not the same as somebody else's. And I would just love, if there's anything I would like the most is that we stop having to have these moments and movements and
Mhm.
just make it, something that's a part of our lives, that
Mhm.
we are going to have drastic change. We're going to have change for these groups. We're not going to legislate against people. We're not going to make legislation we're not going to vote in a way, we're not going to legislate in a way, we're not going to act in a way that takes away from somebody else's experience and doesn't make the playing field as equal as it possibly can be.